Hey, Goose, Lieutenant Colonel, good to see you this morning. Mobile morning. Don, Mark, Gaten, Craig, Serge, Kevin, good to see you. Looks like the crowd is light, but hey, I'm here for you like I am every day. Hey, my son's in Dallas right now, in between flights, took him to the airport at 4 this morning. So JT's gonna be Dragon Tail today. That's what we're gonna do. Drag tail. Anyway, he's on a way out to Midland, Texas for a couple days. He'll be back next week. How's everybody doing? And anybody enjoying the pullback? Finally getting one. And looks like it's taking most everything down with it. So we'll see what happens here. And you ever have one of those days where you feel like you're being robbed right in broad daylight, but you're just smiling through it? You know, like when you buy a $5 cup of coffee or maybe a $9 cup of coffee with your credit card, maybe even your debit card, and you get that little notification on your phone, instant, convenient, magic, right? Well, wrong. That little tap and go convenience thing is a magic trick. Sleight of hand. While you're sipping your latte, a whole crew of middlemen are having a party with your money. The bank, the credit card company, the processor, payment processor, they'll take a little slice off that transaction pie. It's kind of like a tiny invisible army of pickpockets, and you're paying them for the privilege of them to take your money. And the best part, the merchant, the person who actually made the coffee, has to wait days to get their money. Fantastic system if you're a bank. If you're the middleman. Last year alone in the US, these convenience fees added up to $100 billion with a B. That's more than the GDP of a lot of countries out there. All for the privilege of using one of those nice little credit cards, debit cards. I mean, it's like one of the most successful, legal, socially accepted protection rackets in history. I mean, we all just go along with it. We even collect points. And points are free if you're carrying a balance. Just saying. It's kind of like getting a free toaster and then letting somebody slowly drain your bank account. I mean, that's essentially what it is, really. And what if I told you there's a rebellion brewing, though? A digital David sharpening his slingshot against the Goliath of Visa and MasterCard, Capital One, etc. And the stone in that slingshot is called a stablecoin. Now I know what you're thinking. Great. Another crypto thing. It sounds like bullshit. Thought we're done with this. But hear me out. Hear me out. This isn't about buying a picture of a monkey for $1 million that anybody can go download a copy of. NFT. Don't get me started. But this is about the plumbing of our financial system. Stablecoins are boring, kind of. They're a sensible cousin of Bitcoin. They don't really move. They're pegged to US dollars for the most part. 95% of them, or 99% of them, pegged to US dollars. Usually the US dollar is what they're pegged to. I mean, that's when you look at the whole ecosystem, I think it's upwards of 99% of them are pegged to the dollar. So they don't really have wild price swings, at least in dollar terms. Think about them kind of as digital dollars, and that's why I say they're inflationary, but lots of people want to argue otherwise. And here's where it kind of gets interesting. When you pay with a stable coin, there's no middleman. There's no army of pickpockets. The transaction happens directly between you and that merchant on the blockchain in moments, if not seconds. The fees? Fractions of a penny, if that. That's $100 billion protection racket. It vanishes. Poof. Gone. No more credit card fees. This isn't some sort of far-flung, far-off, futuristic dream of happening. It's happening right now. Now, in 2024, the total volume of transactions on the stablecoin networks surpassed the combined volume of both Visa and MasterCard. Now, let me repeat that one time. One more time, just in case that glossed over there. The newest, hottest, fattest thing out there, the new kid on the block, is already out hustling the two biggest payment players in the game. And the big players starting to take some notice. So, where's the investment opportunity? Well, can't make any money buying stablecoins themselves because they're designed to be, stable, pegged to the dollar. You buy $1 worth, it's worth $1. Next week, it's worth $1. Next year, it's worth $1. The real opportunity is in the companies that build these stablecoins, build the infrastructure for this new financial system. Think about this kind of, I've used this term a lot this week, but it's kind of a gold rush in this sector too. People who got rich weren't the ones painting for gold. They're the ones selling picks and shovels, brothels, hotels, right? And right now, we're in the middle of a potential digital gold rush transition from these traditional transaction fees to new stablecoin fees. It's the friction's still there. It's not frictionless yet. But the people that can make it frictionless, that's where the advantage is right here. One of the biggest shovel sellers that's available for you and I right now is Circle. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the stock right now. It's the issuer of the second largest stablecoin, USDC. They just had an IPO under the ticker CRCL. They're already trying to be profitable. I mean, it's debatable right there with over $1 billion in revenue last year. Their last earnings didn't look so hot, but they've partnered up with giants like Shopify, Walmart, Amazon. I mean, that covers, those three right there cover like 90% of the small transactions that occur in the United States. This isn't some sort of fringe startup. This is a company building the future of payments. Then you have the established players who are trying to get in on the action. PayPal, they got their own stablecoin, PYUSD. Coinbase, I mean, this is the big exchange in the US, really, the biggest one in the US. It's investing heavily in stablecoin infrastructure to help support these transactions. These are companies that are laying the tracks for what could be a new financial railroad, and you have a chance to potentially get a piece of some of these. Now, look, I'm not saying that you should go all in, bet the farm, certainly not put all your money in stablecoins because it's, after all, stable. They're going to be worth $1 today and $1 tomorrow. You put $1,000 in, it's $1,000 next year. There's no growth. But you need to pay attention. The credit card companies have had a good run, very good run, in fact. But their business model is built on pre-internet, pre-blockchain, pre-technology advancement world. It's kind of a relic. And like all relics out there, it's destined for a museum. There's not a stable card skimmer, but there are credit card skimmers, right? It's things at the gas pump, things that read your card when you didn't even swipe it. Future of payments is fast, cheap, global. It's programmable, decentralized, and it's being built on the back of these stablecoins. So the next time you tap your credit card for that coffee, ask yourself who's taking a cut. And more importantly, who's paying for it? Do your own research, but don't say I didn't warn you. This is one of those once-in-a-lifetime kind of shifts, at least in this payment sector. You're the train or you're the tracks. So do your research. Place your bets. Watch for strategic pullbacks and opportunities to get into some of these. All right, that's been identified a few ways to play. And jumping over to our somewhat normal disclaimer, All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments. So no stocks, no options, no bonds, no forex, no futures, no cryptos, no treasuries. If you trade them, you might lose money. Simple as that. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult that financial advisor. Find somebody you trust. It's not me. And some states allow that goose, some don't. Some states allow transaction fees to be passed on to the consumer. Some states don't. So it's travel down the interstate and you look at it, it's like cash credit for the prices on gasoline or diesel fuel. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, how do we make money today? We're in the midst of a pullback. No sugarcoating that. Mentioned yesterday, if we break down, probably coming on down. Didn't quite hit that 30 minutes. Probably still got more down pressure to go, which when we look at the futures overnight, it's down double what the S&P was down yesterday. So getting that continuation lower. How far do we go? Well, right now, here's two things to watch. We filled that gap funny enough, on rate cut day, FOMC day, we filled the gap on the futures and made a bottom right there. And it looks like we're going to come back to it. Take the whole rate cut pop right back down. That's what it looks like right now. Now, if this 4 hour doesn't hold, that's cool. Hey, session disconnected. If that 4 hour line doesn't hold, well, daily. Haven't been there in a while. So we're looking at 6,600. As long as we're above it, we still go higher. Start getting below it. Something bigger might develop, but it might take longer to get down here. October was when I thought Bitcoin might top out. So, yeah. And it's kind of wild. In Q, filled that gap, and we can take this one back, right? When you look at the number of weeks, flip up to the weekly chart, the number of weeks we've been green in a row on the S&P, we were pushing the limits. So if we get a red week this week, it won't be a surprise to me. We were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were at 8. Now we just got 7. This week's red, we ended the streak. We end up green by some wild chance. Go cruising on higher. So bigger picture, at upside resistance is probably around 6,800 right now. Probably up there around 6,800. So if we find a bottom somewhere in the 66 area, turn higher, probably cruising on up to 68. Right there. And RTY bouncing off tried to break out. So far, breaking out. Odds are this one, once we closed above here, that we will go on up here, but that doesn't mean we won't back test here before we do that. So odds are we got one more to go. As long as S&P stays above that 6,600 area, still got upside to go there. The dynamics start changing below 6,600. And looking at oil, right back in the mix again. Right back in it. Grinding this support resistance level that we set all the way back here in May of 23. We made that low. We're back in this zone. Just keep grinding on it. Now, as long as we're under the daily roadmap line right here, if you don't have it, check out go to the channel homepage. Check out the channel homepage. The video that's pinned there gives you the code and tells you how it works, explains the basics of it all. And if you just want an easy button to put on a chart, links in the description down below. I guess over that way, like click down, description, expand out, links in there. And links for other stuff I do. So, as long as we're underneath it, downward bias right there. Gold, well, looks like kind of hit a top. Possibly. We'll see. Is this another pause like we did a couple weeks back? Just pause right here and then make another leg higher? Or was that actually a top and we come back down finally? So I've been looking for this pullback for a number of weeks. Bitcoin. Right back to the bottom again. And everybody, I'm going to have to take an intermission a second. Somebody just came in my office. I'm here by myself. My dad's on vacation this week. I'll be right back. Give me just a minute. Let me put that on the screen here. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Kind of by myself. I got to handle something really quick. I'll be back. All right, back. When somebody comes in looking to hand you money, you don't turn them down, right? First rule of business: when somebody wants to give you money, you just take it. So Bitcoin, potential 5 up, potential retrace, and we tested this once again right here. Maybe that was the last little leg there in the 5 down. Not sure at this point though. Not sure. That was a lower low, so move the 2 over here if it's gonna hold. Now we gotta build an up again. Yeah. Well, checks don't come in the form of wooden nickels. I'll take paper checks though. Ethereum also looking kind of sketchy. We may have tipped the odds. We're going on down to the roadmap line here. On Ether, this looks like more weakness. Might take a bigger trip on down to that roadmap line. Right in there. I love how this thing's slow every morning. Right when the market opens. I guess 900 people checking their portfolios, popping up TradingView, trying to figure out what to do. Amateur hour, right? And see if I can make that draw faster. Man, that one's even taking a while. Yeah, right there it is. Right there she is. So watch out for that one. Looks like we've kind of got the odds tipped. We're going to do that. And at this point, this was the first move down. This was the retrace. And we're coming into a potential spot where we can bottom. But we may push it on down to the extreme here. To the extreme, like my candles. Oh, NKD just sitting, consolidating. This actually looks a bit like a watermelon seed squeeze. Lower highs, higher lows. Could say it's a bull pennant flag thing. We break out and go higher. We'll see. Dollar. Well, for once, dollar's up, market down. The correlation is staying intact. Somewhere up around 100 here. That's where the daily roadmap line's going to be sitting. If it ever draws. Man, this thing's being slow today. Holy moly. Everybody's worried. Oh my gosh. The market's down. Oh dear gosh, I'm losing money. I was completely long yesterday. We're down 0.7%. Dear gosh. It's a travesty. So this is probably coming up. Just knowing where the daily roadmap line is. It's right in that zone right there. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, see that 99? Yeah. It zoomed way out. Thank you. Let's zoom back in. There you go. Right around that 99.5. Probably going that way. And that's going to pull Euro down and Great British Pound down and Odd down and Yen down. Probably. As the dollar strengthens up. So Apple kind of turning down here right below the prior high. We're going to back test that prior high. If we hold it, odds are we're going up here, 273. If we slice right back down through it, we might build the case for going lower low. We'll have the roadmap line to test down in here. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's certainly not helping today so far to run it on that one. I'll see if I can put the simpler version on. It'll go any faster. Nope, no faster. That's cool. Yeah. It's not a version of this thing that pops up quick. Anyway. Yeah. That's super awesome. Thanks, TradingView. Glad you have good servers. Nice fast. I mean, it means they oversold their capacity for these big down days. So Amazon coming down into the roadmap line. We're pretty much right near it here. If we get below it, This one can make a lower low than we made back here. Be careful being too long. Speaking of credit cards, Capital One, fire enough right there. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Had that pretty dang close. So if we get through that, potential to come down here. Google. Hey, now we're getting snappy. Cut that off the log mode. So Google has potential to come on up to 263, but if we're possibly in not log mode, we already tapped out and can come all the way back down and retest the breakout back down around 210. Be careful on that one. Meta. Lower high. If we break back below this breakout area where we bottomed right here, if we break back below that roadmap line and then bigger downside potential. So this pullback's a warning right now, and it can develop into something bigger. Microsoft still needs to retest that breakout. Nvidia holding up pretty well, but it may come down and retest its breakout from this area back here. Those highs back at 151. Tesla, Salah. It's grinding, consolidating here. There were millions of dollars of calls bought yesterday. Millions and millions of dollars in calls bought yesterday. All different strikes, all the way up to 550. Somebody bought like $2 or $3 million at 550 calls, and they're playing out December, January, even out to 2027 with these calls. These were seriously, serious big money plays right here. And several people told me about it, and I saw it posted by Cheddar Flow on Twitter. They kind of did a screenshot, and we're like, so this happened today. And one of my team members was like, look at this flow on Tesla. So some people, it's probably not someone, is some group of someone's is pretty bullish on this. Now we do have the shareholder meeting, and we have earnings coming up in just a couple weeks. So I don't know. Rongamer seems to think that we may disappoint on earnings because, well, delivery is not as strong as maybe we hoped they were, especially with the tax credit ending. And Elon's already said that we may experience 6 months, 9 months of soft sales until Robotaxi can catch up out here in 2026. He was expecting full self-driving unsupervised by the end of the year. So positive things, but opposite of what you said. All right. Stronger than expected sales, but then we dry up because tax credit's on. There's no more EV tax credit after the 30th. And the IRS said you just have to sign a contract. You don't have to take delivery. So that could actually slightly boost sales into October, because they can count those deliveries here and sales here. I don't know. Depends on how they bake the numbers. So we'll see what happens. I know that social media, they were showing the lot at Giga Texas in Austin had like 2 lots full of Ys ready for delivery. So they're trying to make a big push this last week. Netflix right there, looking like we might see the rest of the pullback. We'll see what happens on Netflix. I'm not really a big trader of Netflix, so IBM right there. The gap resistance. First move down, retrace. Second move down. Be careful. Betting on that one until we're through the gap down. Be careful on that one. And last time there was a large option flow on Tesla, we gapped up from 320 down here. We like did this explosive thing, like the options loaded up on this drop, and then we did this pop. It loaded up on, there was a big flow, and then we did this. Added basically $100 to the share price. That one got through the gap and one big pop. Zoom out and look at a bigger picture here. So that was the lowest low. Gotta move up, retrace, move up, retrace, move up. Nike. Yeah, we're coming into some potential resistance on this one. Maybe make it up to 105. Let's check out Nike. Oh, back to the roadmap line. I want to see Nike hold this and turn higher, or I want to see it come on down to here. Set me alert here, set me alert here. And looking at the high, looking at the low so far. I'm set one at the gap right there. Just leave it, put that back on and leave it. So those are the levels I'm interested in for Nike right there. Nike potentially has this big picture bounce cooking. I say big picture on the weekly chart here. And if we break down below the low, we have a downside that looks pretty gnarly. Only $50 downside. But if we bounce here, that's potential. Gosh, it's right there. 5x upside potential. And we could go higher than that. So keep an eye on that one. PEPG. It's hovering. So with this consolidation here, you know, the low, tried to break down, got rejected up, tried to break down, rejected up, then did break down, came back tested it. Now we're back in the box. Can we hold on to it? And at the same time, this is under 10 bucks, low price stuff. And really under 20 bucks is low price stuff. Makes it kind of sketchy, so. BBU. Yeah, resistance at this prior high. That was a higher low. Somebody's showing up here. That was a higher low. That's a higher low. Potential resistance right up in here at 40s, 44 maybe. PPLT on the way to 160. Anybody get a piece of that? Congratulations. We could even go up to 270 be a double from where we are today. AVGO or AVGO, AGQ. Silver 2x leverage. I said that was going to outperform for a while. The breakout 105, 172 upside targets if we can actually break through and go. This is leverage silver, so be careful. Leverage cuts both ways. Would I trade options on it? Probably not. CONI. 2x short Coinbase. So Coinbase must be dropping a little bit today because we're popping a little bit, but that one may rock and roll when crypto rolls. PALL. Palladium. Still lagging behind. We're not getting broken out yet. Possible 130 on this one. Don't see the bigger potential on this one right now. GDXU coming up into that 201 resistance. And BIRK. Looks like we might push this down further. Now, it was popping before the market. Now it's dropping. FCX. So this was making a bunch of news. And look at that, right to the target. Funny enough, they had a mine failure is what the big news was. You know, a lot of the news out there saying force majeure, blah, 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 blah. Like nothing was really honing in on the fact they had a major, the second largest copper mine in the world had a major failure and is going to be offline potentially for years. That's the problem that happened right here. And it was in Indonesia, if I got my story straight. Caused copper to pop a little bit. I mean, people are like, major pop in copper. This was a major drop in copper. This, I don't know about a major pop, but looks like that's going to continue down. Funny enough, FCX had already been dropping. Already set for that drop. Now we can come on down to 31 here on FCX. So watch out for continuation down. And we could always go lower low down here. This is going to be expensive to fix. They're going, you know, the Indonesian government's going to be very up on getting this mine back online because it's a major contributor to their economy. So we'll see what happens on that one. But, you know, just be careful out there chasing that one. Decliners, we got leverage, 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 leverage. Funny enough, on Market Masters, my buddy Jack, you know, he said these quantum computing companies and even the uranium companies that don't make any money are going to be the hardest ones hit when we take a pullback in the market, and all these leverage tickers for that stuff all making the top of the list here. It's an app right there. It's all price to sales over 30 stuff. You know, app potentially coming back down. LAU hit the target, potentially coming back down. IONX. Let's leverage on IONQ. Oklo. You know, we hit the extension target, potential to come back down, retest the breakout. ALAB. Same. Anybody thought I was full of it, that these all needed to pull back. Now we're getting it. GE Veranova, first move, second move, third move, potential. This can continue down until everything kind of bottoms back out. Carvana, back to the roadmap line. They're slowing down again. Back to the roadmap line, right around 315. SMPS. Ooh, that's a nasty pullback right there. Can't tell if somebody else just came in. That was a higher high, but this moved down, this three-wave retrace into a resistance zone that is conducive for this being an A, down, a B, retrace, absolutely beautiful. C wave down would take it to a lower low. right down here. Be careful on that one. Be careful on that one. CLS also topped out. JBL. That's a fast step back down. So watch for that one to come back to the roadmap line, if not the breakout. So first target, second target on the downside there. I'm not playing the downside, at least not yet. ETHU. Back to the roadmap line. That's 2x leverage on Ethereum. CRDO. Looks like we're coming back down. Retest the 144, maybe the breakout down here. Oracle. And that has a lot of loft there to take back. Can come back to there. Or even all the way back down here. And retest this resistance back here. These highs. How we broke through it. So there's support levels, support level, support level, and support level. If we gap down through it, that's where you need to get worried about Oracle. Bulls probably going to pull back to the roadmap line. AVAV. And we hit the loft and we hit those upside targets. Watch for the pullback. Once again, yeah, we didn't hit the roadmap line on this pullback, so it was a 4-hour bounce, hit the target, and watch for the pullback. Reddit, tag the target in full, come back down, retest the daily roadmap line. Coinbase might finally hit the roadmap line. MSTR, ooh, nasty pullback. Right down. Now we need this one to hold in this vicinity right here. We start getting much worse than this. Not looking good for MSTR. That back tested the roadmap line and turned down. Not good. I want to hold this 618 right here. That sets us up to go new all-time highs. But if we get much worse than this right here, odds are we're going to come on down to below 200 if we get down through the 280 area. Yeah, around 275, 280. If we start getting below that area right here, odds are we're coming on down here around 200. That's not going to be good. It's a 30% haircut right there on MSTR. IONL. Another leverage on IONQ. I didn't even see IONQ on here. Where it's not even on the list. IONQ. Put the letters in the right order. There it is. Way down at the bottom. Way down in there. Basically the top of the target. And we need a pullback. So nothing surprising. Where were we? There's like 150 tickers on here, so let's hit some highlights here. Spotify, probably set to do a bigger pullback. Roadmap line, probably not going to hold. Just the way this looks. Probably gonna slice through. Guess would be, that's a 3-day. If we have enough 3-day candles to, we might come all the way down to the 3-day down here. CEG. That one missed on the last pullback. Came out, yeah. So looks like we're gonna do a. It looks like we are doing an A, B, C, and that's gonna slice on down through right there. Caterpillar hit the target. Wouldn't surprise me to come back down. It's a long way up from the roadmap line there. May just retest the breakouts. Core weave. Holding up really well, actually. We talked about circle. That one's probably coming back down. The opportunity on this one would be if we make a move back down below the IPO. There's where your opportunity comes in down here. Picking it up here, and you could experience a 50% downside still. And they had a bunch of revenue, but did not make a bunch of money. Their debt's under control, but yeah, no sales, so to speak. They don't really sell anything, right? I mean, it's an interesting kind of business proposition. You make your money on the thing you're required to hold as collateral. Dave, watch for that. Drop back to the roadmap line. PLTU. Let's check on PLTR. Now this come back to the roadmap line. Roadmap line pretty easy. That's a lower high. First move down, retrace. Second move down, put us right there. Yeah, you can not believe me all you want, but that's how you get yourself in trouble. So preparing for these pullbacks is how you stay aware. I watch for things, you know, I'm pretty selective. You know, I watch for things that kind of set up for me, and I rolled a bunch of stuff and took a few losses here. Just carried these forward into new positions, except for that one. That was a hedge I had for several months, and it finally expired. So hedge expired. This rolled forward, up and out, so that money will show back up. The rest of these, I'm just playing strategically. And it's hung up because I didn't play the same IBIT put option that many times. It's cool. Love it when it does that. I just play a few things. When you look down through here, I've got some Chewy and Docu and DLTR and IBIT. And I pick my horses. I don't try to play every possible thing. So I flip through the charts and look for things because not everybody likes the same sectors, right? Like other people like different things. Other people like STX, and I don't have enough money to play everything. So I try to be really selective. I have my potentially bullish list over here. These are ones that my ones I'm trading are at the top. And then other ones I take a look at all the way down through here. Opportunities. Nearly everything down today, but there's a couple strong ones like MO. That one's probably going 110. Flight to safety today. Warner Brothers Discovery bucking the trend. You know, that one may have some sort of deal with Paramount that takes it out. I don't know. Seeing Restoration Hardware hold up really well in the face of potential fleecing out in big tech. Home Depot showing a little strength today. Still got some upside to go. Oklo potentially bullish, but that's potentially played out for the moment. Urban Outfitters holding up. Want to see that hit the roadmap line. GH can just rip higher here. But look at that higher low. Move up, retrace, next expansion. If this is going to be bullish, we want to see it get up to 70. On the next move, then retrace, then move up, then retrace in a 3 wave, and then make the big move. There's lots more to it than just, you know, what's bullish today. Because you can get caught in the wrong side of the pattern. Now, DLTR, look, I mean, we're holding up pretty well in this area. You know, I do have $100, 100 strike puts sold. We're a few bucks underneath. Got like $6 of credit already accumulated. So I'm not really even underwater. And I'm looking for this thing to pop in a pretty nice way here. If I get put at 100 and it runs up to 130, it's like $30 upside right there. 30 bucks times 200 shares. So I have 2 puts sold against it. That's a $6,000 potential chunk right there. But I'm actually at 90, you know, at like 95, 94 with my credit. So it makes it even better. That's another $6 times 200 shares. It's actually 36, which makes that $7,200 potential. So it's just about putting yourself in the right spot. Now, if I get put those shares, that's the upside potential. Now, you still gotta, you know, if you come in here and you sell a put at, or you sell a call against it at 99 after you get put at 100, you just locked in that much money, and you might be forced to sell your shares with that call. So you have the obligation to sell them at that strike. You know, somebody can call you out, but that's the game. Dun, 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 dun. Well, looks like lost most crowd here. Let's go look at the potential setups for today. I know it's a bad day. Everybody drops off. Wow, look at that list. It's so long. AES. This is stuff potentially bouncing. Maybe the green ones. Let's check it out. Close that. Open that. Take that one off the list. So we've got this high. We've got that low. Bounce potential 14 on the target. Just kind of average ticker. This one. So it bounced over here. Didn't really fire off. Bounced again down here. It's kind of a downtrend. I would be careful on this. That move up. 87.50 potential target right there. EQT. Oh, that's cool. Thanks. Here's the high up here. Here's the low down here. And for the bigger picture, we'll be looking for that. For this pattern that fired off, we're almost to the target at 53.81. JVR, JRVR. Maybe that high, that low. There's the candle close above, 629, low price stuff. MOS. This one has a nice upside potential here. Firing off, 39. 22 trades, 81. It's a pretty strong performer. It's not a statistical population, but it's been pretty strong so far. Doesn't mean that it will. It's kind of like optimistic that it will, but it doesn't mean it will. 44.28 right there. This one is like, this has a statistical population. Check plus. It is much higher than the average at 88. The only thing has a kind of weak profit factor when it fails. It fails a little bigger than the average. That'd be the upside potential right in there, 44. OG is fired off back here and hasn't gotten to the target yet. It's gone sideways, chopping, and that's part of the, takes 45 candles on average to get to the target. but the standard deviation is 35. And to cover 99% of the time, that means it's 150 candles. So this, how long can the trade last? Can last indefinitely, but on average, 99% of these finish up in 150 candles. Now, that's not calendar days. All right. Candle maker doesn't work on the weekends. So it's really about 210 calendar days when you look at 150 candles. Takes you out here like 6 months plus before it works out, potentially. But it can, 1% of them, you know, think about I'm looking at 3,000, so, you know, about 30 of them out of the 3,000 or 40 of them out of the 4,000 might take longer than that. So just keep it in mind. I'm looking at around 3,000 to 4,000 of these every day. 46. I just made a trade. Boom. INTW. Just hit my target. 39. Maybe I was in that supercharged trade. Boom, there you go. That just worked out. R&R. And that's not really a trend at all. Did fire off back here. Still in it. Giving you another entry today. Still likely to go up to 257.18. Shill. There's the entry, 29.01. Not great on the numbers. SO. Looking for the 96.46 on the target. UTSL. There's the high, there's the low, and 46.10. Now that one, this one's a beauty. Oh, I guess that was SO was the beauty for the statistics updated. I was like, look at the numbers on this one. Look at this, 50 trades. Yeah, SO is the one. 50 trades, 92% profitable, and a profit factor 2. I mean, that's for a company that nobody ever talks about, the Southern company. Looks like we're going to rock and roll, baby. 92% profitable. UTSL, it's going to be a utilities bull with a 3x leverage. This may or may not actually work, but be careful. Just saying, be careful. That'd be the upside 46. It doesn't have any statistics to it, so to speak, but 75. Now, the problem here with 3x leverage chip, that may not work out. You know, be careful on leverage stuff right there. See a higher percentage of those fail than work out. Leverage cuts both ways. All right, buys for the day for 70 or 80 of you still hanging on with me. Well, look for that 6,600 to hold, which so far we tested down into it and we're holding it. This would be the other thing to watch back here. That low. If we can hold above that low from last week on rate cut day, hold above it, probably still going to a new high up around 6,800 probably. If we don't hold on to it, probably coming down to the 4-hour roadmap line would be my guess if we don't hold on to that low right there. So far, yeah, see, it's right at the 1 hour. And if we get below it, 4 hour. So that's the kind of the line in the sand there for right now. And that would put us right in the vicinity of that one. that we drew. And this one's probably closer to the daily. Yep. Closer to the daily. Then the 3-day. Probably hadn't moved much. 3-day, one down there. That's what to watch as far as downside and upside. Upside may take that gap back right there pretty viciously. Then we'll see what happens. We're going to have to get through a 618 retrace at this point, which is sitting just above the gap, to get continuation higher. And if we come up and turn down here, and just like yesterday when we came down and busted through, we come back up, turn down here. That can lead to that move on down to the 4-hour. Right there. All right. That's kind of the outline for the day. I'll be at Market Masters 11:30. Otherwise, be careful out there. The money you save, the account you save, may be your own. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15 tomorrow.